Blessed. So I was thinking about racism, and I thought to myself, if there's anybody who would have the right to be so-called racist, it would have to be the darker colored tribes. Now, I'm not saying that racism is right. It's unnecessary. We know it's political. We know it is for the purposes of control of basically lands and regions. You know, a group of people may feel like they know what direction humanity should head in, and they formulate all types of things. Now, there's no proof in any way that anyone is more superior or inferior, because you know the minerals that make us up, you know, are basically the same things. You know, and you know, I know people get into the pineal gland, the pineal gland, and carbon. But as you know, carbon is in everything, so, you know. But the whole thing is, a group of people who realize that no matter where you are on the planet, these colored tribes have been. You know, a word that's thrown around a lot is rights. Who has the right to what, and so on and so forth. So obviously, the darker colored people of the world who have a longer reign on the planet, of course they would be hated upon, because it's as if they have a right, they were here first. First come, first serve. That means they can plant their flag up, plant their stake in the ground and say, this is mine because I was here first. You know, this is why racism exists. You know, it's because all the possible sciences have been touched by the darker skin colored tribes. They've been around longer. They've been reproducing longer. They've been inventing and engineering longer. They've been living longer, basically. So, the thing about it, any race that come after the colored tribes, they basically try to do what we do, or have done, and try to better it. But the irony is, you can't ever pull out the foundation. If math started at 1 and 1 is 2 units, it is just as important to calculus, algebra. It is just as important, because that is the foundation. Everything is built from that foundation. So that is why it is jealousy and hate, you know. What always confused me is that if every race has a section in it, the section is bigger than what we think, because you can hide it easily. Oh, I'm not a racist, but when you're amongst your friends, those niggas, I mean, damn, I say this shit too. But what baffles me is that if everyone is against you, how is it that you're not united? If you've gone through such a tragic history, how is it that nothing is put in place to empower us to stand up and be free or be rid of the threat. Things are going to change, possibly, when we're not around. And things have changed in certain arenas. But nothing surprises you until it surprises you, you know. So, I've been in many workplaces, you know, and obviously, you know, I'm going to be different than most people that I come in contact with, especially in the US, you know. So you get to observe the way people behave, and you can kind of sense if something is fake or real. This is why wisdom is a good thing. This is why exposure is a good thing. You need to be around different types of people to know how to function and to be able to read, meaning read people. And really and truly, you never know what's inside of someone. You never fully know what's inside of someone, you know. But I've seen it where you're at a workplace, somebody comes in that may have similarities to you, but they may join the crowd that has a higher possibility of dislike or hatred towards you. You know, I've been in a situation where I observe a department where someone has been there for a long time, and it doesn't have to be a white person. It could be, these things happen amongst black people too. You're there for a long time, you feel like you're part of this thing, and you try to keep control of your position, or you may feel threatened by someone's intelligence or background. So I noticed something happening where certain people were either quitting or getting fired, and it was the same type of people. But the one constant happened to be, you know, the Karen. You know. And although you may have a relationship with this person to some degree where you've conversated and they seem cool and they smile, you see how they treat other people who are more like you. And you say to yourself, oh, you have to be careful of those kind of people. But anyway, you know, I see how I see how people divide people. I see the plantation vibes, where you're in a space, you don't want a certain group of people to connect, so you start talking behind their back, you know. And this situation, I'll probably talk about it later more specifically, but it's sad to see when people who should gravitate or who can relate to you believe what the other group is saying or the other person is saying and don't realize that they're trying to divide. That is disappointing, I should say. People should be able to understand the way the human relation spectrum is laid out. You know, sometimes the person that you run away from is actually the person that you should run to. Man, life is so... It's everything and nothing. So many things, you never know, you know. But at least you have to make an attempt to find truth in any situation, so that at the end of the day you don't end up looking like a fool, you know. So what I do is, in those types of situations, I stay attentive and observant of people, you know. You know the sweetest thing in life? When things get back to you and people don't know that it got back to you, and you watch them live a fake life in front of you every day. Not knowing that they've been fooled, they look foolish, and basically they're laughing and smiling with someone who do the same to them, and they don't even know it. That's why in workspaces I remain neutral, you know. I remain neutral, and I'll make sure I have a view of all sides, and my adjustments and reactions are made to be minimal so that they can't be noticed at any specific time, because you never want to be predictable in your movements where people are concerned, you know. So yeah, racism can look like your friend. Racism can look sympathetic. Racism can look understanding. As long as you don't know the main objective. Racism is there to keep you imbalanced or unbalanced, so that you don't fix an underlying control factor, and you think that everything is all good, so you go along and keep cool. I guess we should be grateful for the good in life. So some things have changed, but as usual, there's an underlying microscopic element still lurking at all times. Not for all people, I won't be ignorant, but for a good many. You know? So, yeah, it's nice to observe. I think observation is a good God aspect that people can incorporate in their daily lives. You know, see exactly what you need to see before you make your movements, or say what you need to say. You know, and sometimes saying nothing is saying a lot, but only through observation you know the right method of action. You know, but yeah, it would be nice, it might be an illusion, for everyone to love everyone and everybody to be peaceful and get along. But obviously, that has proven to be impossible. So, you just have to gravitate to like-minded ones and ones. You know, the same objective. You know, hopefully more positive groups will arise. Hopefully in our most traumatized and abused sectors, we can find a way to stop shooting ourselves in the foot, or basically undermining or just killing one another, you know. It seems like religion and politics has failed us in many ways. I'm not saying they haven't helped in some ways, but in many ways, in my perspective, in more ways than not, have made the tangle a lot more complex and tighter to unravel, you know. We can hope for all the best, hope for the best as much as we want, but like everything else, it starts with the individual. That's what's most important. So, another beautiful day. You have to give thanks for life. Every chance we get, you know. It's a beautiful thing when people are in harmony. It's a beautiful thing. You know what I always wonder? All these people in life, if they make it into their so-called heaven for their religion or God, will they be able to live in love and unity forever? Will they ever have any disagreements with the people there, or who also made it? So there are many unanswered questions about where we end up. You know, even in your own family you have bickering and so on. In relationships. So learn so much from sight, you know. There's a separation between black people. Depending on where you're from, your culture, there's a separation of all peoples, but I feel like the people that are most oppressed, the most important thing to them should be finding a way to break the divide. You know, I don't know if our unity would mean that we control everybody else, but I feel like everybody else is in fear of that. You know, and it's saddening. And at this point, I don't think any one group of people can be in control, or one group of understanding or consciousness can be in control. But if the overall mission is for humanity's sake, you know, I think that everything will fall into place. Sometimes it's nice just to sit here. It's nice to sit here and talk, because your words can reach somebody at some point in time. See, this digital age, the social media age, we don't know how long it will last. Maybe it will last our lifetimes, or maybe for many generations, but at some point, I think there's a recycling. I think that things are washed away or deteriorate to the point where they have to start from scratch, or even set back to a degree that may seem primitive to what it is now. You know, I don't think it will remain the same. But anyway, we give thanks for the now, for the present. Love and honor.